So let me tell you a little bit more about myself. Recently, let me start from the beginning here. In September 13th, 2024, I quit all kinds of foods like cookies, candies, chips, ice cream, you name it. I got rid of all of that. I stopped eating other types of junk food. I got rid of fast foods. The only food that I would eat would be a hamburger from Wendy's without the bun. I got rid of bread. I got rid of flour. I got rid of a lot of things. And I lost 65 pounds, like this. I incorporated 3 meals a day. I prioritized high protein. I prioritize protein in my meal. I did it. It was the easiest thing ever. I felt liberated because I come from the era of low fat, right? And then here I am eating foods that are rich in fat, and I didn't have to stop myself from eating certain foods. I would eat cheese and all those good things, avocados. I would eat the whole full egg. It was liberating. It was fantastic. And I lost weight without any exercise, just on diet alone. And then I stopped actively losing weight. Or rather, I stopped taking more action on continuing my weight loss efforts. I wanted to lose 30 pounds more. I lost 65. I wanted to lose 30 pounds more, but I was happy with the way I looked. I was like, you know what? I look fine. I feel happy. I'm going to stop. And then I gained 30 pounds again. And I have to stop myself. And I'm starting again now to lose the weight again. But this time, I started telling myself, what happened? I got rid of all junk food, right? Because I did. I got rid of all candy, because I did. I stopped drinking diet soda. I started drinking salsa water because I like the fuzz. I changed my diet completely. I overhauled it. I I ate more protein to the point that I had too many issues with constipation, which is something that I never suffered from, TMI. So I had to add a little bit more fiber to my diet, which was fine. And that was when I started to add more fruits. When I started eating more strawberries, I started becoming more regular. Everything was fine because, I had cut down a lot of carbohydrates. And I don't know what happened. And so I started taking courses. I'm actually in the midst of becoming a health mindset coach. I just got my certification as an inner coach, inner healer, right? Where I'm working with core wounds and I'm working with a little bit of body parts work. I am learning more about reoccurring patterns and all that. And then I realized that I was so focused on the external portion of weight loss that I forgot the internal portion of my lifestyle change. The mindset behind it. The reoccurring patterns that showed up that I wasn't even aware of. And now that I'm doing all this work and I'm learning these things, and I realize that the reoccurring pattern, my baby behind me, the reoccurring pattern of overeating snuck in there. And it wasn't on bad food. It wasn't on junk food. It was on grapes. I started eating grapes like snacks. Like I would eat a meal and then I would sit down and just eat grapes. Working grapes, like mindlessly eating grapes, right? And then now, as I'm embarking on this journey again, but this time I'm doing it from a place of an understanding that it's more to weight loss than just dieting, nutrition and eating. And exercise, right? So I repeat my words again because I think I speak too quickly, and I want to make sure that I am being understood, which is why I repeat words a few times. FYI, I am working on that too. as I go along. And this, I figured that by the time 90 days are up, I will be more proficient in communicating. Maybe a little bit more entertaining, adding more things to the video, whatever. Sharpening my editing skills as I have to do anyway. But so this time I am becoming more aware of my eating habits. I'm becoming more aware of my mindset behind my eating. I'm becoming aware more of the internal chatter when it comes to eating. I've noticed, to be honest, that if I'm thinking of a solution for something, like when I'm meditating and I'm thinking about what I want to do X, Y, and Z, that I do think about, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner? And I've pretty much stopped that because I don't know what that pops in my head for. I think it's an avoidance tactic. I'm still working through this. But being aware of recurring patterns, being aware, and I repeat this over and over and over again because this is the truth. Being aware of triggers, like what triggered the episode, or what triggered the habit of eating grapes. And I know that I let my guard down because I gave a lot of food, and I was under the impression that it was the junk food, but it's not. It wasn't the junk food per se. It was the quantity of the junk food. Right? And I say junk food lightly, people get offended by it, but the truth is there are certain foods that do not serve your body, period. And even foods, I understand that you want to eat whatever you want to, and everything should be with moderation. If you want to eat something that is supposed to be not on the good list or whatever, go right ahead, it's fun, right? Eat ice cream if you want to. If you can control yourself, if ice cream doesn't trigger you into eating more food, go right ahead. All right, but I was convinced, and I'm still convinced, that it did change my physiology. The constant high sugar foods and whatnot. But so yeah, I think somewhere along the line I've dropped my guard, obviously, because I wasn't eating bad food, or foods that didn't serve me. Again, it was a reoccurring pattern of overeating, or almost like snacking mindlessly. And so what's the trigger, right? So then now that's the question to ask myself, because I want to get the answer. What started it? How did it sneak in there? And this is what happens when people are on this journey. They're doing well, and then something happens, and an old behavior, an old habit, an old thought, an old feeling, I don't know, kind of like pops in. And next thing you know, without you being aware of it, you start doing these little actions that you thought you got rid of. Okay? It's going to be now September 13th this year. It'll be 2 years that I don't eat sugary stuff. And I don't eat anything with added sugar. I don't eat anything with added sugar. I eat things that are natural in sugar. And I have to repeat that again because I don't eat anything that has added sugar. I don't even put honey anymore on my yogurt. I don't really need to anymore. At the beginning I would put it because it would make it a little sweeter, but after a while, I let go of that. In 2024 in September 13, that's the date, right? But so it just snuck in, and then now I am being more aware of why I do certain things. And yesterday, day 15, day 16, I started to be more aware of the choices that I'm making when it comes to eating. I stopped eating grapes because I knew that it triggered something, right? And then now I am locking it in. I am on this journey of losing weight and keeping it off, because it's just so much more than just eat this, work out more, or whatever, or hummus, of course, right? But anyway, today's day 16, and I'm happy to say that I'm still on my journey, even though it's only 16 days. I'm happy to say that I'm not letting things like popping up get in the way. Okay, I'm taking everything as a learning, and that with the mindset that this is just what lessons do I have to learn? And how can I take that lesson, not only for the food, but also other parts of my life? You know, if I use food to avoid something, then maybe I should not avoid that thing, which is what I'm doing with the inner work, right? It's fantastic. And I'm going to start on this channel here, start doing maybe once a week what I learned and just spend one day out of the week. Even though I'm talking about my blog, you know, my vlog, my journey, I'm thinking of one day a week actually teaching you something or running you through one of the parts work or what I learned about mindset. I'm thinking of putting one day of all the foods that I eat, right? So you can see, making this channel a little bit more interesting, right, in the journey. So good. Anyway, day 16, guys. Day 16. Excited.